Festy Hub Podcast.
Yo, what's going on, my fellow revelers? Welcome back to another episode of the Festy Hub Podcast. I'm your host, Manny, aka Frisky a Hug. And today's episode, we have Devin. He's the owner, creator, founder of EDM Maniac, which was actually starting off as a publication company, and it's grown to be so much more. I mean, they do events now, they do collaborations, promos, they have a whole content creator team. They on top of being a publication company. So we get to learn a lot about Devin. We get to learn a lot about his company, what the vision was, what was the inspiration between everything that's happening and everything that's going on. We do spill a little bit of tea of some of the current events going on. I know there's been some events getting canceled, so we kind of talk about that and our opinion on what's really going on behind those kind of things. But that's gonna be our guest for this week. As of for life updates and stuff like that. On Thursday, I'm gonna be going to Murata. He's playing over at Celine in Orlando. I don't know if I'm gonna be seeing Murata on Friday. So I guess the day the episode comes out. I don't know. I know that my friend Lace is gonna be there. She's opening for him, so that'd be really great to see. But I don't know if I could do the drive from Orlando to Tampa and then back. So we'll see. I don't think so, though. And then on Saturday, I will be seeing Illenium at the Vanguard. So that means no, I will not be at Interstellar. For those of you already asking, I've already gotten a couple DMs about that. And then as for like events and stuff, I don't really have anything in the shortcomings. Just a couple like events here and there. So some local stuff here in Florida. But as for festivals, I have Imagine, Lost Lands. I'm thinking about doing Breakaway. I don't know though. And then I think I'm gonna be going to Denver like next week for Corbin Michael's birthday. If you guys ever seen like my vlogs, he's the kid that DJs. I think he's like turning 15 or 16. I think it's 15. I think he's 15 next week. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. And thank you for watching. All right. So I'd like to welcome Devin, the founder of EDM Maniac, to the podcast.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here. I know we had some like running around some scheduling, but
you're a busy man. This man, because he emails me. He's like, "Hey, I can't make it. I'm in Ibiza right now. Hey, I can't make it. I'm in Tomorrowland right now." Okay, okay. I was telling one of my friends, I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to get Devin on the podcast. But every single time he emails me back, like, hey, sorry, I'm just like, having dinner with royalty. I'm sorry.
Oh man, it was quite the trip though. I mean, it was so fun. But yeah, thanks for having me. We'll talk about the trip. So my name is Devin. I'm the founder of EDM Maniac. I started the company. This is actually our 10th year. So in October, it will be, I should have grabbed a drink. I didn't think of that.
No, it's okay.
I usually am like the first to like have a drink next to me.
Okay, so like I have like, and some people might know this, but I have like social anxiety. So like actually talking to people, even though I'm in the realm of influencing and this community and stuff like that, sometimes when I'm too sober, I tend to like get in my own head. So this just helps a little bit. Believe it or not.
I'm actually the same way. I know exactly what that feeling is like after going to all these festivals and all that stuff. Like I still have a bit of social anxiety, which is so weird because like everything we do is so forward facing. But yeah, it's cool. Anyway, happy to be here. It's our 10-year anniversary. Started EDM Maniac about October of 2012.
Wow, y'all been here for a while.
It's been a minute. It's been a very long minute, but probably the best thing I ever have done with my life. And yeah, I started EDM Maniac because I moved to Los Angeles, which is kind of where I live right now, but I'm kind of like bouncing all over. I didn't know anyone, so I started going to all these parties, and I was like, wait a minute, like I really want to like meet more people, and I want to show my love for the music. And I had started listening to dance music in like 2009, maybe.
Oh wow. Okay, hold on. Don't mind me asking, but how old are you?
All right, all right. So how old do you think I look?
Well, you're if you started at 2012,
math is not my strong
I would say you're 30.
I'll take 30. I just, I'll take 30 any day. I just turned 34 in April of this year.
Oh, those numbers. I hate being in my, I love being in my 30s, but I hate being in my 30s. You know, it's a love-hate relationship with my age.
Why?
Because it's just like, you know, sometimes you feel like you're moving so fast and there's no time to slow down. And I feel like by the time you reach 40, I hope to be where I thought I was going to be when I was 30. You know what I mean? Like, I feel so behind. I'm like, oh gosh, there's so much to do,
the
so little
benchmarks
time.
keep changing for sure. It's all good though. I feel like the 30s are probably like, I'm enjoying my 30s personally. It's like nice to like not like be worrying about certain things. And like, I feel like the older you get, like the more you have an appreciation for life and music, especially this culture too. So
I do the same thing as I did when I was in my 20s. It's just I have more money and more connections. Like, nothing changes, guys.
Yeah, I mean, having money is nice for sure, but doesn't always bring you the most happiness. But
brings me a lot of happiness.
Dude, for me, it's more money, more problems.
You'll never see me smile harder if you had one of those like money guns and you start shooting me with it. You're like, oh fuck. I'm so happy.
That's too funny. I mean, I'd probably be the same way, honestly. But yeah, so I moved to LA. I didn't know a lot of people, and I kind of just wanted a platform to like share my love for the music. And then one day I was in the shower. Literally, it's one of those shower thoughts. Yeah. I literally take showers sometimes to like get it together in my head. Yeah, like there's something about just taking a shower to like, okay, this is what I got to do. This is what needs to be done. It's like.
Do you ever just sit down on the tub and just sit and just
and cry? Yeah.
It's such a 30s thing.
Yeah, it's 30s. But yeah, I mean, I was in the shower and I was like, man, all right, so if I start something, what am I going to call it? Right. And I was like throwing out all these names, and EDM at the time was like becoming a thing in America. And so like the term EDM was a thing. So I was like, all right, we're going to call it EDM something. There were some other EDM things. And at the end of the shower, I was like, you know what? I'm really enthusiastic about this. I love this. I'm passionate about it. I'm the maniac. So I was like, all right, we're going to call it EDM Maniac. And that's kind of how that happened. But like at the end of the day, I think we're more like EDM enthusiasts than we are like EDM, like, I don't know, like we work in a very professional world and professional environment. But I think at the end of the day, we like to consider ourselves enthusiasts rather than like experts. Cause like myself, the whole team, we're all so passionate about dance music that it's like, I don't want to lose kind of the excitement that I have for the music and the culture by like getting too political about certain things and getting too
or make it all about business, you know.
Exactly. And get jaded. And like that's like my number one fear. That's why I try not to really like, we're very much involved in the music industry, obviously, but I kind of like keep myself a little bit further away from it to kind of shield myself from a lot of the politics and drama in the industry.
I had a situation where my friend, because like I just brought in one of my closest friends to the music scene, and you know, I'm like showing him all these things, and he's like sending me flyers like, whoa, like the EDC Orlando lineup is insane. And I'm just like, yeah, man, like I can't wait. He goes, why are we not in the same level? What is going on? I'm like, you know, it's like, oh, you know, I want, so like where did that stop? Where did I stop being so excited to see a lineup? You know what I mean? And then like I was thinking about it to myself. I'm like, that's just like a really sad thing that I guess I'm going through, where it's like maybe I'm doing too much festival going and I need to just simmer down and just do more of the background stuff. Maybe just attend. Maybe put the camera down, put the notepad down, just go, you know?
It's hard.
It's hard because every festival is a lost opportunity for me. You know what I mean? Like,
I know very well. Yes, I feel you. But it's always like, you know, and that's so interesting that you brought that point, because like there's this conversation right now about like content creators. Are they ruining festivals? Are they ruining the culture? That sort of thing. And it's an interesting line, right? So it's like we have people that are there to share their experience, you know, like take cool videos, but then are they there just for that purpose, right? So like, you know, I feel like there's a line, right? So it's like you you want to go there, you want to share your experience. You know, the reason why we go to all these festivals and do all these report cards, share the experience, get people excited about the festival.
Yeah.
But then also like enjoy the festival at the same time.
Yeah.
Like if your sole purpose is to go somewhere to take photos and to like try to get a viral video, then that I think causes some friction.
And like you said,
culture.
there's a line, and there really is, because some of these content creators, such as myself, we're contracted to make videos like that. Like the only reason I even have an all access pass is because I promised to do a vlog, a podcast, like 4 TikToks, and like I'm constantly like doing it. And then like I promised to do a meetup, I promised to do giveaways, I promised this and this and this, right? And I'm like, where is the me time, right? Because like this is so it's hard, because like some of us are more than just the Instagram content creators and the TikTok content creators. Some of us have like a real like industry passion for this. We're like, you know, like when I go there, I'm creating like 3 YouTube videos. You know what I mean? Like it's not a,
and YouTube videos are not easy.
They're not easy at all.
For anyone who's watching, it may seem like it's easy, but it's so not easy. And I'll tell you, I went to film school. I studied post-production film editing. I know how much it takes. I went to the School of Visual Arts in New York. It's like a small private art school. It's not NYU, but it's a smaller school. Costs just as much as NYU. Still paying for it. But
no way.
Oh yeah. You know, editing a film or editing just like 30 minutes for something for YouTube. It's hard. It's not something that you like can magically put together. You got to get the sound right, get the color right, you got to get the shots right. Like it's way more than it looks. So I have so much respect for people that put stuff on YouTube, because it's you know, it's really hard to monetize on YouTube as well. So it's like you put so much time into things, and it's like maybe the algorithm will pick it up, maybe it won't. You know, you have people that like have millions and millions of followers that don't even earn that much on videos when you think about how much time and energy goes into it. So props to you. There is something, however, I'm looking into, and the company we're looking into is like YouTube Shorts, which I think are kind of like the new kind of wave of like the short form digestible media that doesn't require as intense like editing. It's kind of like TikTok style.
I know of it. But from what I'm gathered, it gets a lot of views, but it doesn't get a lot of like subscribers. So nothing concrete. It's just very temporary view. Yeah, like I know a few people who like do a lot of shorts and they get a lot of views, but like I never see their followers go up. It's just a constant. It's just like
interesting.
So I don't know how the algorithm works for that. You know what I mean? So it's,
as far as I know, is like YouTube is like the second largest SEO engine, and I feel like from what I've read and from videos that I've seen, that it increases visibility in search engines like in Google. But then it comes down to like the quality of the content, right? You really have to like figure out like, for me to hit follow on Instagram or subscribe on YouTube, it takes a lot. So it really has to be like, you really got to grab people's attention.
The issue with YouTube that I have, right, is when I post a link, maybe it's because I'm on Android, maybe I gotta switch. But like
You're the green bubble.
I'm that guy, dude. People avoid me. I'm that guy at the party people try to avoid. You know, it's like, oh, we gotta go to Instagram chat. So like, I put my link on there for YouTube, right? And when they click on it, it goes to their browser, not the app. So when you go to your browser, you're not logged in. At least I'm not logged in. So I have to log in every single time. So how can I expect people to subscribe to me if they have to keep logging in every single time? Dude, I'm sorry, man. If you're telling me I have to do 3 steps before I can even click that button, I'm just not doing it.
Not going to do it.
I'm just going to view your video the way it is, and good luck to you.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you think, what's the solution?
So I mean, the solution is that the software developers need to, you know, get their shit together. But what I've been doing is I'm like, hey, just type in my name on YouTube and subscribe. So I have to do a direct, like, hey, can you guys do this?
2 steps versus like
3 or 5. Yeah. And like, you know, that's got me like right now I'm at like 1,000 subscribers, which is nice, but I've been on YouTube for years, like, you know,
really.
And I have multiple channels. So obviously I've switched channels and I've switched like career paths, but like EDM, I think started around like 2017, 2018 for me. So like 1,000 for that long. It's like, dude, like you have to have a lot of motivation to just keep going. I have 150 videos on YouTube.
That's insane.
Like I'm motivated. I'm there. It's just not.
Do you sleep at night?
I do now because I just quit my job, but
That always helps.
When TikTok came out, I wasn't sleeping. TikTok at the beginning did consume my life because it's one of those things where like if you don't catch it at the beginning, you're gonna lose it, right? And like now now what we're seeing is the dip on TikTok. So if you didn't make your followers at the beginning when it was first a thing, you're gonna have a hard time doing it now. I mean, people were climbing up to like 100K, 200K, 300K, 400K at the beginning. You know,
after a couple of videos too.
Yeah,
it wasn't
you try doing it now, man, you're going to be climbing very slowly to get to like a couple thousand. And it's just the algorithm, honestly. People aren't at home and sick and, you know, it's that new trend.
Yeah, it's COVID, right? Yeah, that's when like TikTok was becoming like a real thing, which made perfect sense because people were at home and they had all this time to just scroll through TikTok and make videos.
What did you guys do during COVID? How was your company revolving around that scenario?
It was actually our best year ever, believe it or not.
Let's get another. No.
Let's not. I mean, we had like this monkeypox thing, but we'll see. It was our best year ever. We were the third company to produce a drive-in event in the world. So we did 2 drive-in events in San Antonio, Texas.
I remember that.
Yeah. So we were the third one to do it. I think Carnage and some other company did one first in the States, but Germany actually did it first. We saw that and we were like, let's do it. So
they did the pods, I believe, right?
Yeah, it was actually, I kind of missed the pods a little bit because like you have like your own personal space and like you could like go in your car and like sleep.
Well, people like us, we love our space. You know what I mean? It's like
the 30 thing.
And I think it's just because like we're 30, but also because like we've been doing this for a while to the point where like we don't want to be in the center of the crowd. I don't want to be pushed. I don't want to be shoved. I don't want drinks spilled on me. This is a really nice outfit. I don't want to get ruined. Like, you know, like
I feel it. Yeah, it was a good year. We did 2 of those. We signed an agreement with Insomniac to like do like live streams. We're pumping out like live streams every week. So it actually was a very good year for us because it allowed us to think differently, to like do all these really different things versus like what we're just so used to doing. So I think like COVID, you know, I think the positive for us was that we were very busy. We also did shows in Austin, Texas, like socially distant shows. We booked Green Velvet, Desert Heart, Scorpion City. We booked all these big DJs. Texas was open at the time, so we weren't doing anything illegal.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you know, illegal.
we were doing what we could to survive as a business and making sure everyone was safe. A lot of people decided not to go that route and just kind of step back a bit, but like we really felt like it was important to keep the music going for people, whether it was through live streams, drive-in events, small in-person shows, open air shows.
Did you ever get backlash for okay, so this is so I was helping some of my friends do their own driving shows over in Colorado, right? Some of the backlash that my friends got was that, you know, even though you had your pods, people were moving up and creating like you know, their own little section like of like 100 people like up in the front. Did you ever encounter that in any of your events?
We did have specific areas where people could reserve bigger spots at the front to do that. But for the most part, I was actually really shocked and really happy that people were very cognizant of everyone around them. So we never had any issues. And we actually had people walking around up and down the aisles to make sure people were staying in their pods. So no, we never really encountered it. But
Colorado people are just different, man. They don't give a fuck.
I think they're just too high. I'm kidding.
Where's my pod?
No, I love Colorado and everyone there. I think it was fun. Yeah, it was a good time. So it was a great year for us, and here we are a couple of years later, and now on the other side of things. And I think those years during COVID really helped us really kind of reposition ourselves and decide what we want to do with the company and the brand. And it was shitty at first, obviously, but I think we made the most of it. And I think those were some of our best years ever. Actually.
I want to know about like your tipping points of like your company, right? Like what was the timeline of your company's evolution, right? Well, you started at almost like it was like a community-based brand at first, right? And then and then how was that transition? Like, can you talk about the evolution of your company?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So we started as a publication, right? So But like, even if we go back, like if we pull it back a little bit more, before EDM Maniac, like I was doing warehouse parties in LA. Like
My man.
I mean, you know, throwing illegal warehouse parties like left and right. And I had just moved to LA and I was like starting to like meet all these people and I was like, let's fucking do it.
Don't you miss it though? Don't you miss the underground like warehouse things?
Dude, we have plenty in LA. There's lots of house and techno ones.
Yeah.
But for like EDM and it was super ravey. Like these are like rave. It's like Candy Kids.
I
like,
remember.
Ravey. But yeah, so before EDM Maniac, I was doing that. So like the ethos was always like bringing people together, sharing our experiences. There was always like this events arm to EDM Maniac, but then we like kind of pivoted to like focusing on the publication, growing that side. And then over the years, we kind of like dived into a bunch of different areas. And so now we have, you know, now we're kind of a little bit of everything. I like to think we have different verticals. Like we have an events vertical, we have EDMManiacPresents, we have the publication, we have like a marketing media agency. We've kind of evolved into all of those things, but I think the tipping point was like only a couple of years ago. Like when did we decide, like, you know, in 2020 when COVID, like did we decide, hey, we have to actually branch out and we have to do different things. Like we can't just stay as a publication. We have to like find different ways to monetize. We had teams that I had to pay. I mean, it's kind of like we had to make that decision. And I think since then, and this is why I think COVID was good for us, since then we were able to have these different verticals and have different revenue streams. So I guess like COVID really was that tipping point where we're like, we really got to diversify what we're offering.
Yeah, just like open up your mind to different ideas, thinking outside the box. And then in turns, now we go back to normalcy, be like, wait, why stop that? Like,
exactly.
It's a good thing, you know?
It's a great thing. And I think it's great for the brand. And I think, you know, we don't want to pigeonhole ourselves into one thing, which I feel like we were kind of doing at one point, where we were very much known as a publication, and like, which is great and everything, but I think there's just so much more that we can offer the community. So like, I'd rather not have us be pigeonholed, rather us be known for doing different things.
Yeah, but I'm also, it's really smart to also just take it one step at a time. I think a lot of people try to like jump the gun and they're like, oh let's do all of it, and like, whoa, simmer down for a second. Like there are people who've been doing this for 10 years who are barely stepping out, right? And like you're over here at like your 3-year mark going like, let's go guns blazing. Like, whoa. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think any advice I could give people like that is like, while I think everyone has that like fiery burning desire to like go crazy and do different things, you really want to find one thing you're good at and just stick with that first. Like you really want to create a name and a brand for yourself when you're really good at one thing, right at the beginning. And then once people know that you're good at one thing and your name is out there and your brand is out there, then you can start doing other things. But you got to build trust in the community, and you have to like really kind of be good at one thing at first. And then, you know, we've seen it, we've seen time and time. Like I always use like Fire Festival as an example. Like, oh yeah, let's just throw a music festival in the Bahamas. Really not that easy. You can't just because you have a lot of money doesn't mean you can really execute things like, I mean, perfectly.
Did you see that the pollen stuff going on right now?
The elephant in the room. Yeah, I mean,
what is your opinion on that?
Personally, I never, and this kind of like, you know, goes back to like who we choose to work with, who we choose not to work with. I remember like Fire Festival reached out to us. I have the email.
No
saying, like, hey,
way.
Oh yeah. We'd love to like market.
We want receipts.
We'll pull up the receipts. Yeah, I definitely saved those emails. It's like, you know, they reached out. They're like, hey, we'd love for you to be a marketing partner. We've got these DJs, blah, blah. We think it's going to be really great.
Dude, my mind is blown right now. I can't think right now. Like after this podcast, I'm going to go to my roommates and I'm going to tell them, because like, that's so funny. I mean, I think I used the best judgment. Something didn't seem right. So I'm glad I like listened to my inner self, which is a huge part of like owning any business. I think you really have to listen to yourself and listen to your gut. And like with that, like I was like, something is just like, this seems way too good to be true. I'm glad I listened to my gut, and obviously we saw it happen.
Similar thing with Pollen, there were some opportunities there, and like it never really made sense to me,
Yeah.
you know, like it kind of grew really quickly, and like they were all of a sudden working with all these brands that I'm very familiar with, and I was wondering like what the relationship was, and it just didn't really seem ethical in my opinion, and I think that's kind of why one of the CEO resigned or something, because like there were they have a lot of ethics issues to say the least. But I think, you know, when you look at companies like that kind of like, I don't know, they have a shit ton of money. That's, you know, Pollen is like backed by taxpayers. It's like part of the government fund.
Oh, what the hell?
Yeah. Just because you have all this money doesn't mean, you know, people are going to use it in the most smart way. So this is why I kind of like, I always think about like people like that and kind of like, you know, just try to be more, look at the bigger picture and try to understand like, you know, all of what the company is offering before we make a decision about whether or not to engage with them. Because the last thing we want to be is on the other side of that, right? We don't want to look like, oh shit, EDM Maniac was promoting Fire Festival.
Yeah,
but
we trusted you.
Yeah, so it's all about trust, and you always want to make sure you have you want to keep the trust of your audience. So that's kind of how I feel about that. But I think, you know, in any sort of like business setting, you really just want to listen to your gut. And I know it sounds so cheesy, but every time I've done that, I haven't messed up. So listen to your gut and be
the common denominator to your success is your gut.
Yeah, it's all you've got.
I was actually working with Pollen, and I was hearing things about Pollen, you know, and I think for me, it's like I was just like clouded because like they were always giving me like backstage passes, and like I was like, oh, okay, like I'll work for you still. And then like, you know, but people were saying all these things, and then eventually I just stopped like working with them, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. Like there's like they're not really like providing me any incentives to continue working with them. I don't really get it. But you know, now this whole scandal and like everything's just coming into fruition. Everything's like, wow, like everything's true. Like you're right. Like Pollen's
I mean, I was at a festival in Mexico this past January.
That's the one
when
people were telling me about. Yeah.
It's like they canceled like a day after the festival started. So they're like, there's just some issues, blah, blah. We'll get it going the next day. And then it canceled. And I mean, granted, I did get the full refund. I know a lot of people didn't. I know, so I'm not gonna, you know, speak to that. But like, I got a refund after like 100 days. And ultimately, it ended up being a free trip. But I will say that there were a lot of like concerns with just how they dealt with that situation and other situations like it that definitely made me lose some faith.
Okay, so we're gonna backtrack a little bit, and I'm glad I still thought about it because I wanted to bring this up. But you said we did a collaboration with Insomniac, and I'm like, let's keep talking and stuff. But what? let's talk. So like, did they reach out to you? You reached out to them? Do you have like a relationship with Insomniac?
That's a good question. I mean, we've worked with Insomniac for 10 years, right?
Oh wow.
So like,
okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Tell me about this friendship.
We've definitely worked with them for quite some time, and we've built a very close relationship. A little fun fact is, you know, one of my first jobs in LA was working at Exchange LA. I was the first social media marketing manager there, and this was like 10 years ago. So we've definitely grown to knowing each other, and we support each other in every way possible. And you know, when you know, they're really good about recognizing people in the community that are really kind of doing great things. And, you know, we've built a really solid relationship over 10 years. And a lot of it comes down to trust. And, you know, when we started the live streams, they started Insomniac TV. You know, I know quite a few people there. So we started those discussions, and we're able to like strike a residency, which was really cool. And yeah, we work with them on multiple levels, and I think they're really good at what they do. And there were a lot of things like during COVID that they did for the community that I think are really respectable. And A lot of it, I think, comes down to the people that work at Insomniac, and they're just as passionate about dance music. So we have a really great relationship, and we try to support each other whenever we can. And sometimes the projects are a little bit bigger, sometimes they're smaller, but they're definitely good people to work with, and we're thankful for that relationship.
I want to talk also about your employees, like who do you have working on the team? Let's gather our thoughts. And can you name the people like that kind of like make EDM
Of
Maniac?
course. So while I was in Ibiza, I mean,
Well, I was at Ibiza.
I mean, it's kind of like, this was a really huge turning point because
Mhm.
like a lot of things shifted. We had certain people running, our Instagram the whole time. There's a lot of coordination, but this trip really, I was gone for a month in Europe, and 9 hours ahead, right? So like
Yeah.
they're on different time zones, and we really made it work. But we have a team of about 15 people, and we have our managing editor Harry, who's been with the company for about 6 or 7 years, and he's in charge of all of the website content, the editorial coverage, ensuring everything matches the voice of the brand. He manages our whole writing team, our festival coverage team. We have Esme, who's our lead content specialist. You've probably seen her on Instagram. She's super cool. She started as an intern with us about a year and a half ago, and now she's leading our content strategy for social. We have Adriana, who started as an intern as well, who leads all of our communications between the publicists, managers. She schedules all my meetings. She's kind of just everything communications. Also started as an intern. We have a team of graphic designers. We have a new brand called Maniacblvck, which is house and techno. So we have a whole team dedicated just to that.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of content creators. We have festival coverage writers. We have interns. We have content specialists. We have Twitter people. We have a whole amazing group of people that I'm going to meet with in 20 minutes. Hi. And I put my Slack on do not disturb. I was like, I'm gonna be busy for the next hour before this,
Right.
hour before this. But they're all great people. A lot of them started as interns. So we just wrapped up our 3rd year internship program. So we've been every year looking for interns to help kind of develop skills for people that are interested in working in the dance music industry. And it's kind of like a professional development program, and it's for people that are really just looking to get experience in the industry. And it's our 3rd year. We just wrapped up 2 or 3 people from that round we're bringing on as part-time employees or part-time staff members, and then we're going to start another round of interns this October. And the program itself lasts for about 5 or 6 years, but we use the intern program to basically help us find talent, and that's how we hire people's usually through the internship program. Now,
how many people do you think you have? I don't know if you ever counted, but how many people would you estimate you have on your company?
I think 15.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
You were saying these names, and I was like, dude, like, oh my God. I'm like, I couldn't count my own fingers. I'm like, dude, I'm like 40 people.
No, maybe one day. I mean, that's the idea, right? Is like we definitely want to scale up, but we definitely we have about 15 people, and then by the end of the year, maybe we'll get to 25 with some more interns.
And then, so you just got back from Tomorrowland, right? Yeah, you were in Ibiza. Yeah. How was that whole trip? How was Tomorrowland?
There's so many words.
The stage was so sick this year. Right? I'm like, I'm sitting on my couch. You're there in person. Yeah. We're not the same.
Yeah. No, I too, I used to watch Tomorrowland on my couch too, right? And then I kind of just was like, I have to go there. This was actually my 5th year going, and it gets better every year. The people, the production, the Tomorrowland pays attention to all of the details. The food is phenomenal. They have Michelin star restaurants. They have all these eating experiences. They have wine bars. They have 13, 14 stages. It's in nature. It's over water. It's really it's really a magical thing. And I've been going for 5 years, and I definitely feel like every
5
year they improve.
years.
5 years. Yeah.
Oh God. That okay. I'm afraid that once I start
Well,
going, I'm gonna be like you, and I'm gonna go every year. Like,
yeah,
shit.
I mean, you can't miss it, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the purpose of the trip. So I've been going there 5 years. Every summer we go to Ibiza right before Tomorrowland, start the trip off right, go to Amsterdam, do all that stuff, and then wrap it up in Ibiza. Go back to Ibiza. It's crazy. This year I also went to Awakenings, which was like a huge techno festival in the Netherlands. Like it is like it's like Tomorrowland for techno. Like
Oh
it's
gosh.
insane. It was wild. The glamping was great. But yeah, it
That's
was.
the only way I can camp.
Yeah, really. Again, in your 30s, you're like,
I
I
know.
cannot do. But it was amazing. It was so fun. Definitely check out those festivals if you want something different. I think it's just a really good. I think Europe does it really well, and just like on a totally different level.
All right. Well, Devin, I know that you gotta get soon to meet up with your team. Where
Yeah.
can our viewers find you?
You got EDMManiac.com. We're always open to feedback. There's a little contact form. So if you ever want to drop us a line, we're on Twitter. You can tweet at us at EDM Maniac. We're on Instagram, EDM_Maniac. We're on Facebook Messenger at EDM Maniac. Yeah, and always feel free to hop in our DMs. Like we're always looking for feedback. If we could do something better, let us know. We're all about it.
All right. Well, that was a pleasure having Devin from EDM Maniac on the podcast. I've actually never met him in person, so that was actually really cool. But yeah, this episode will be on YouTube. If you want to go and watch us, I'm kind of setting up like a studio thing here, so like the backdrop's pretty cool. You can see what me and Devin look like. But this is also available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Apple Music. I just added that on there. If you wouldn't mind, you guys, or whatever you stream this on, if you can give it a subscribe or a follow, a like, share with your friends, word of mouth would be great. Just, send this link to somebody, put it on your story. Any of that is super helpful. But yeah, that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys got a lot out of it, and I hope you guys learned something. But like I say at every episode, I will catch y'all at the next one. Bye.